Good morning. This is Bobby Dupre with the Bobby Dupre Show, presented to you each Thursday morning at 7 a.m. And of course, it replays on Sunday afternoon at 3 p.m. How about that, Chief? We got it correct this time. And my sidekick here, Andrew Guitros.
Good morning, everybody.
And many of you have been listening to the Bobby Dupre Show on radio for almost 36 years. January will make the 36th full year. And on television, 11 years. So time is moving right along, and people tell me, especially the young ladies, tell me I look younger than when I started.
There you go. That's a good sign.
That's a good sign. Kind of encouraging. Thank you, ladies. Sometimes I kind of stretch.
You stretch it a little bit?
Stretch it a little bit. It's not to hurt anybody. The only thing that is going to hurt is when I look in the mirror tonight. I'll find out that
the story might not match the picture.
I'm back to 75 again. But anyhow, we also on radio, as I mentioned, 12:30 a.m. on your dial. That's the local KSLO station and 105.3 sister station, and that's FM. And both of these multimedia units are part of the Delta Media.
There you go.
Out of Karen Crow, Louisiana, and we try to bring nothing but good news to you, and we don't have to have a lawyer in watching us on the backside or bodyguard. Try to bring the good things, and we've never run out in 36 years. I've never run out, and we're going to get right into the program, and we'll first start off with a couple of our sponsors. Then I want to talk about the San Antonio trip.
I can sure handle that. How about Piggly Wiggly right out the gate? Man, I went to Piggly Wiggly this weekend and bought myself 2 big old Boston butt roasts, and I made a big jambalaya for me and about 100 of my closest friends, and had a good time for Thanksgiving over at Tommy DeJohn's for our syrup making and cane cutting.
That's an annual event.
Let me tell you, at Piggly Wiggly, I got everything I needed, from the rice, I got the big Boston butts, I got some corn to make corn makshu, I got tomatoes to put in my corn makshu. All came out really good. Go by Piggly Wiggly. They're very nice, very quick to hurry up and open that extra register for you. You know, when you're trying to check out and they got that long line, they're always nice and get you in, get you out very quick, with 3 locations, one in North Opelousas, one in South Opelousas, that also does catering and has plate dinners. And they've also got a location in Simsport. And one more sponsor. Let's go with, boy, here I go, Carl's Thrifty Way, right over here on the south end of Opelousas. Go by Carl's, you get your prescriptions.
Next door to the station.
That's right. They've got all your prescription medications, they've got all your over-the-counter medications, and it's Christmas time if you're looking for last-minute gifts, or you're looking for just good gifts. I mean, it doesn't have to be last minute. I always think of Carl's as being that place that you can get in, get out. But they've got
they wrap them also.
Beautiful things, right? And they'll monogram, do all the wrapping, all that type of thing for you. Go by Carl's Thrifty Way.
And we'll get right into, went to San Antonio for the Thanksgiving holiday, and had planned on leaving around 6:30 in the morning. Well, that didn't work out just right. We left about 2 hours later, and that was fine. We had no schedule to meet at in San Antonio.
It gave time for the fog to burn off.
But I can tell you, talking about fog, we didn't have fog here to talk about, but just west of Beaumont, approximately 8-10 miles, they had a tremendously bad accident, one of the worst that I've ever heard of in the South. And it was due to heavy fog. The latest count that I've been able to read since that time was 140 vehicles, and that included a lot of 18-wheelers traveling early in the morning from state to state, place to place. And in spite of the rain, and I mean, it just mangled those vehicles almost in piles. And only 2 people, I mean, it's sad that 2 people got killed, but the other injuries, I don't think were maybe that serious. So I guess people had the seat belts on, and that's something that we all bet to watch it close, because you can listen to the reports, the state police in particular, they'll mention how many people actually got into accidents where deaths occurred, and 50 to 60% of the people that got killed were not wearing seat belts, and that's a statistic that runs on and on.
You and I in the automobile insurance industry for years, you see it in our data that we bring in, that literally, if they didn't have a seat belt on, that was pretty much the
and so many get ejected.
Exactly.
And broken necks and things like that occur. And
small children get ejected from cars even easier. So make sure your children are locked in first, then make sure you're locked in.
You'll get a $50 ticket if an adult is not properly strapped in. But if that child is not in, it's a lot more than $50, I can tell you, because they're out to protect the children, protect all of us from ourselves, I guess.
Sure.
And other things that happen. But we were running those 2 hours late. The accident happened around 8 o'clock. We'd have been just about in that area when that accident took place.
Good that y'all ran late.
Good that we ran late. We were tied up about 2 hours, finally got a chance to take an exit to the right. We were going west. We exited and went way out the way, but at least we were moving, so things went along good. It took 8 hours to clear the wreckage on the westbound lane. That's how much, more than on the eastbound, because I guess the traffic was heavier going into Houston, towards Houston. So, but when we got to San Antonio, it was beautiful as usual, and we had some good eating experiences. The experience that you see right now with Vicky, in the picture with her martini, her dirty martini, and we were at the restaurant. I'm looking at a menu, and it's got the name of the restaurant.
Ostra. I don't have it.
You don't have it?
I don't have it.
Okay.
But I do have you sitting with a plate.
Yeah, and that is a beautiful plate. We had to take the picture. Ostra means oyster, and this in Venezuela or one of the foreign countries.
Spanish, South America.
Could be. And real nice place. A lot of restaurants were closed. This is Thanksgiving night.
Right.
And not only was the presentation beautiful, as you can see on your television.
And that's a whole fish with the head and
with
all.
The head and all, and they
curved.
curved it, and then all of your salad and everything, your rice and all is in that curvature, and then they've got the sauce in the front, and I mean, it's a first-class restaurant, Ostra, and it's on the riverfront, and it's in the Macara Hotel and Spa. They have the #1 spa in the United States of America in this particular hotel, and you can see with the class of the restaurant. Tried to get a menu, and they offered me one, and somehow, in taking all the pictures and everything, I left it behind. The young man in the picture with Vicky and I is, how you pronounced it?
Jorge.
Jorge. I'm going to just say George Perez. He's in college, and he's studying to be a graphic designer.
Excellent.
Real nice young fella. And we'll move on to some other pictures. Now we have the chef that presented all this beautiful food, and delicious food, I might add, to us. And he is Chef Jaime Gonzalez. And young fella, he's from California. He's been in the San Antonio area 4 years, and he's been here at this restaurant for 2 years. And the gentleman on the right was my
the waiter?
My head waiter. George was the assistant waiter. Sergio Valdez was my head waiter. And he is also in college and is studying forensic investigation.
Oh, like a CSI guy.
CSI guy.
No kidding.
And very interesting. I mean, we had fun at this restaurant.
I hope you've been behaving. He probably got enough evidence off of you just walking around.
Oh, he swabbed me. He got my DNA. And all those beautiful lights in the back, that is a huge cooler for the white wines. I mean, they have a huge collection. First class white tabletop, but also
Ostra.
they make you feel good. So I have no reservation in recommending. And then we're going to go to some more restaurants that we.
Outside
this
here
is
in
the
San
buggies.
Antonio.
People taking a ride in the buggies on the streets of San Antonio. The river walk is about 3.5 miles long now, and a lot of fun.
Hank Williams
inside of one of the
from 1953.
Yep, restaurants that we saw, and of course this is the famous Alamo. Everybody has to go to the Alamo every time you go.
Remember the Alamo.
Remember the Alamo. That's right. And this is one of the dressed up Mexicans. But you see that handout?
Yeah.
He was wanting his tip before I took the picture.
He had his hand out for a handout.
Hand out for a handout. How about that? Real fine. Nice old gentleman.
With a sombrero and everything.
Oh, yeah. He's fully dressed. And this little lady, I had to take her picture. She's the hostess with the mostest smile. Beautiful smile. Miss Sarah. And this is in the famous Minga Hotel downtown, right next door to the Alamo. And it's got a history that goes back into the 1800s. Just a beautiful, beautiful facility. And this is the colonial restaurant within the Minga Hotel. They serve 900 people for Thanksgiving Day out of this one restaurant.
It's the bar in the Mingas where they actually, Teddy Roosevelt put together his group that became the Rough Riders.
Rough Riders, right. No, this is a famous, I've stayed there before, and this is a beautiful tree in the, but let's go back to the restaurant. One more minute, I want to mention that besides Sarah, Lenora was my waitress. We don't have a picture, it looks like, of Lenora, but she did a wonderful job, and all of the, I mean, it's a great selection. It's a buffet they were serving that day. I mean, you could order off but you, when you saw what was offered on the buffet, you went to the buffet, and it was something like $15.95. I mean, that's a bargain price.
Good deal when you're in a big fancy hotel.
In a tourism city. And
making a few phone calls, I see,
making a few phone. Had to use that old-time phone booth. We had one like that in the courthouse, and I've got a little story I tell about using it one night to kind of keep one of my friends avoiding some serious problems. He's not alive anymore, but
you could turn into Superman in that booth. There's a Superman
yes, that's correct.
Get in and change.
And
the boats on the river.
Yep, they had the boat, the lights. We just went the right weekend because the lighting of the Riverwalk was taking place Friday night, and this is from inside of Landry's restaurant, and we're going to talk about Landry's.
That's right there.
That's the entrance that I went into. In fact, we took this from our room. Hotel room in the Hyatt next door, and we went in, and I mentioned to the young lady, and it was the bar that you walked into first at the street level, and I mentioned to her that I was a select club member of Landry's, and so she immediately, when I asked her to get me some seating downstairs, she went to it.
We got to take a break. We're going to come back to Landry's in about 5 seconds on TV and radio.